name's Miranda Tijana. I'm a CPA. I work for Ritchie & Company. I've worked there since 2013. I'm a manager in our audit and assurance department. I specialize with construction companies and not-for-profits. I love public accounting because of the flexibility and adaptability we have to have. Accountants get a reputation for being dull and boring, but I think we have to be the most flexible people out there in order to adapt to all the changes that are constantly evolving from the FASB and in tax, and I like using my creativity every day. I also like that we're an apprenticeship model. So what I think about in public accounting is that we're a ladder with the partners at the top pulling up the managers, who are pulling up the seniors, who are pulling up the staff, and everybody is doing their part to pull up the person behind them so that all of us can succeed together and so that we can offer good services to the public. I got into public accounting because in my late 20s, I found myself as a single parent with 3 young children, and I needed a fast track to the middle class. So becoming a CPA was difficult. We have to pass a test, but it was something that I could do, and it's opened doors for me and given me opportunity that is wonderful as a single parent. If I could give advice to my younger self, I would say, there's more writing in public accounting than you ever expected, and also focus on the soft skills. A lot of times there's an idea that becoming a CPA is all about technical knowledge and passing the exam, but what I found is that it's much more of a customer service job than they tell you up front, and that your ability to work well with others, to build relationships with other people, to work as a team, to collaborate, all of those things are probably more important, in my opinion, than some of the technical skills that we talk about and focus on all the time. Because in public accounting, everybody is used to being the smartest person in the room. There's no shortage of intelligent people who became accountants, but people with people skills and service skills can be harder to find and are much more in demand by our clients. I think that training your staff and mentoring, pulling people up, helping people to find where they want to be and what they want to do to succeed helps you in your career, it helps them, and helps your firm as a whole. That's something that I've really dedicated a lot of time to, is investing in my coworkers and colleagues, and I think that it's paid off for me personally because I've surrounded myself by a good team who knows what they're doing, who feels supported and well trained, and it also reaps dividends for our clients because we go to our clients and can do work for them at a professional and high level. I also really believe in investing in clients. Our relationships with clients aren't simply about the audit that they're required to have or the compliance that they need or the tax return that they need. Clients are looking for trusted business advisors, and I believe in doing everything I can to provide for my clients services needs and all of the advice and all of the things that they need from me. I want to provide it to them to the highest of my capabilities. A defining moment in my career is whenever I recognized and realized that it's more about we than me. If I can pour into my colleagues and pour into my clients, then their success leads to my success. So focusing on me and how I can get ahead and promoting myself has never been the way to, overcome or to get where I want to be in public accounting. Investing in other people, that has always come back and benefited me personally. When I'm not working, I have 3 children who are teenagers now, who I love spending time with. We have a dog. We like to volunteer. I coach my youngest soccer team, and I just enjoy my life. Winning this award has been so validating because the nomination and the recommendations came from my coworkers and clients, and I realized that they see what I have been trying to do to meet their needs and provide excellent service to them all of these years. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tamara Beal. I am a tax manager with RADW, and the areas of practice that I specialize in are partnerships, S-corps, high net worth individuals, real estate, and as much as I like to pretend I'm not nonprofit organizations. So Why did I become a CPA? I became a CPA quite by accident. My undergraduate degrees are in psychology and sociology. I went off into the world of social work for a while. Found myself in sales working for a company that would pay for me to go back to school. Figured, well, I'm doing nothing with my undergraduate degrees, so I ended up going back to UNM to get my master's in business. And one day I was talking with my husband, Jason, and saying, well, what should I even major in? Because I'm really tired of being commissioned. And he said, you should go into accounting. And I probably looked at him like he had 6 heads, because if anyone knew my personality before going into accounting, it couldn't have been further than what my stereotype was of an accountant. But here we are almost a decade later, and it's working out great. So I'm happy that he steered me that direction. How am I involved with the community? So I'm currently the board president of a nonprofit organization called Read West, and they're an adult literacy program that helps people learn how to read. It helps people with English as a second language attain their GED and attain citizenship, depending on what our students' needs are. I never really knew that adult literacy would be a huge passion of mine, but I stumbled into that world about a decade ago, and I couldn't be more proud of Read West and what they do for the community. I'm also a part of a few professional organizations, and then I am on my 2nd term as a board member on the New Mexico Society of CPAs Board of Directors. I've been involved in their Young CPA committee for quite a few years, which I'm not quite so young anymore, so that's probably coming to an end. And then I have been involved in their mentorship program for many years, both as a student and as a mentor. So I'm going to give a shameless plug right here that if anyone hasn't participated in that program, I think it's one of the most rewarding programs that the society embarks on. So I was talking with my family, and my 15-year-old said, well, Mom, this is something you've kind of always done. And while I think that that was something that was a little more generous than I deserve, I was reflecting back on my life, and I wouldn't be where I am today without the help of a community. And so if there's anything that I can do either within our profession or outside of our profession to make someone's life or organization better, I'm happy to do so, because I know that there were so many people along the way that helped me get to where I am today. How do I balance work, family, and community service? I could lie to you and say that I'm great at that, but I'm not. So it's through the grace of my family and my employers and the organizations that I'm involved with, when they understand that sometimes my attention is pulled one way or another. But somehow throughout the course of a year, it all seems to work out. So I guess that's my answer to that. The most rewarding part of community service for me is going to be all of the relationships and connections and friendships that I have made along the way. I already touched on this a little bit, but I couldn't be more grateful for the people that I've met throughout my career and throughout the community service that I've done. When I'm not working, you can probably find me reading a book, or you can find me trying to escape very, very quickly into the mountains, because even though I am a bit of a social human, in my off time, I like to be a little bit alone and reclusive. Something that people might be surprised to find out about me, if you know me, this isn't a surprise, but a benign fact is that my hair color changes seasonally. Life is too short to keep your hair one color. And so I probably met multiple of you in the audience more than one time because I just look different every time you meet me. And then finally, what does this award mean to me? I had no idea I would be nominated for an award. I don't necessarily think that I'm deserving, but I'm grateful for the time that people took to write letters of recommendation for me. Everyone's busy, and it's an honor to have anyone take time out of their schedule. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the person who's made the most profound impact on my career throughout my time in public accounting, and that would be Carl Harper. He saw something in me when I was coming out of school and hired me. He was the tax director at the firm that I was at straight out of school. He has taught me everything that I learned, and if he didn't teach it to me, he taught it to my other mentors. And so I'm so grateful for him for never not taking the time to answer my questions or teach me something. And for anyone who has worked with us ever, you know that he can drive me crazy with his constant emails or popping up behind me and saying, have you done all 20 things and did you get them done yesterday? Or just not addressing the most recent email that's in his inbox. But I know I'm also very hard to work with, and I am grateful that he's taken the time to do it over these years. So having said that, I'm really appreciative to everyone who's a part of this process, and congratulations to all the other people who won awards and the scholarship recipients. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Ratigan Heenan. I work at Moss Adams and I am a senior tax staff. So my area of expertise, obviously that's taxes. I do individual taxes and pass-through, so S Corps and partnerships. And I do have some experience in real estate, restaurants, farms, and ranches. Why did I decide to become a CPA? So way back when I first lived on my own, my husband, my boyfriend at the time, said you should learn how to do taxes on your own, and you should also do them by hand. So I thought, oh, that's a great idea. Turns out it was awful the first year. I was frustrated with him. I was frustrated with the forms. They were super confusing. I gave up several times before I finished, and I thought, I'm never doing this again. And then the second year when I did it, I actually enjoyed it. I understood it a little bit better since I had read through everything and learned about it. And during my bachelor's, my last class was an accounting class, and between those two, I thought, well, I'll see if I like tax work. So I went and did a tax season at H&R Block, and over there I met a CPA named Julie Wiley, who was super smart, super caring, spent all of her time, trying to help her clients, and I really wanted to be like her. So for Habitat for Humanity, that was actually another idea of my husband's. I learned about them and really respected their sweat equity concept, which is putting in the hours for volunteering or constructing the home that you're going to own. So through that, I met a bunch of really awesome, consistent volunteers and future homeowners, learned things along the way, of course, about construction. For the Rio Grande Valley Celtic Festival, that has a bit of a backstory. So we have a corgi named Gus. So we took him out to the Edgewood Celtic Festival in 2019 and got involved with the Scottish Heavy Athletics, which is made up of the nicest and most supportive people that I've met. And through that, we met the festival board president, learned that they had a treasurer position, and I offered to help. So organizing any sort of festival is obviously stressful, but I've helped them understand their books a little bit better and put them in a better financial position going forward. So I think there are two pieces to this that are really important. One of them is to take the time to help them understand their tax return. So not to just churn out a tax return and not talk to them for a year. Answer their questions, help them understand what's going on in the tax return, and that way it betters them as well and they can have a better understanding of that. And the second thing is going out and supporting them in their endeavors. So whether that's supporting them when they get recognized or if they hold some sort of event, I think being there for them for those reasons is important as well. So back before I even worked at H&R Block, I used to work at Whole Foods, and there was a customer, Bill Scora, who came in and got bread from me. We developed a relationship then, and when I went to work at H&R Block, I started talking to him about becoming a CPA. So he was basically my mentor through working at H&R Block, through grad school and beyond, and I very much appreciate that he helped me navigate my way to here. I've heard the phrase, it's a marathon, not a sprint, a lot, and that's really stuck with me. So I think there's two things that are important there. One of them is just being patient with yourself. There's a lot to learn in public accounting, so remembering that you're not going to learn it overnight and that learning all of those technical items just takes time. So be patient with yourself, stick with it. And then the other piece of that is public accounting is a pretty demanding career, so I think you just have to remember that you can't get all your work done overnight. It'll just take time. What helps you deal with stress? So I have 5 things there. 1, I mentioned the Scottish Heavy Athletics, so that's a big one for me. That's throwing heavy objects and flipping cavers. Working out, remembering to take care of myself, helping others, whether that's helping them to take care of themselves or just be supportive. And I think most importantly, having people that you trust around you that you can talk with and that'll be supportive. What does winning this award mean to me? So I think the answer goes back to the nonprofits that I'm involved with. Like I mentioned before, I've never met the kindest and most supportive people, so I think that this shows that I've been able to give back. And it is also significant that one of my coworkers nominated me for this award because I strive to help build a good team at work. And having a really good group of people makes it more than just a job. So I really appreciate the awesome team that I work with at Moss Adams, and I really appreciate all the great people that I've met along the way at Habitat for Humanity and at the Celtic Festival as well. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I want to start out and say how truly honored I am to receive this award from you, my peers and fellow CPAs. I look back to when I first started as a CPA. I have seen a lot of changes. However, one thing has stayed the same. It is that CPAs are truly great people. I've had the opportunity to meet many of you and also many CPAs throughout the country and also chartered accountants in other countries. I think back when I was young and wanted to pursue a career as a veterinarian. Since we had lots of farm dogs and cats, my pet lamb Bootsy and our pet pig, Pig Newton, it seemed a logical choice. My dreams of being a vet vanished when I took my first accounting class in my junior year of high school. I literally fell in love with recording all those numbers on 4-column. I knew that day I would become a CPA. With a $1,000 scholarship from the J. Bryan Stevenson Memorial, I studied hard and graduated with honors from UNM and soon thereafter passed the CPA exam. I went to work right after graduation with what was back then called a Big 8 accounting firm. Looking back, things really have changed. No more Big 8 firms and no more 4-column posting, but as much as things have changed, they are still the same. Debits are still on the left, credits are still on the right, and CPAs are still wonderful people, and being a CPA is still a great career. After being at the Big 8 firm, it didn't take me long to know that I would be happier and more comfortable in a small firm. That small firm I went to work for back 30 plus years ago has evolved in what is now Kubiak, Milton & Associates, LLC. I went from an entry-level staff accountant and eventually was partner in charge of client accounting services and state and local taxation. One of the most rewarding and sometimes the most challenging part of what I do has to do with the P in CPA, public. My work offered me the opportunity to work with business owners of all types: men, women, contractors, doctors, retailers, manufacturers, and restaurant owners, to mention a few. I learned so much from these business owners and realized being a CPA means you never stop learning and you never stop growing. Being enthusiastic and passionate is easy when you are doing something you love. My greatest accomplishment is not a single event, but rather it is the continual personal growth from an entry-level position to a full partner with a substantial client workload. Being accepted for your skills and knowledge by your clients and other professionals is my greatest accomplishment, and I'll never stop being enthusiastic and proud to be a CPA. I only hope my actions have had a positive influence on the many people I've had the pleasure of working with, both in and out of the profession. Being a CPA is challenging. We work in a dynamic environment, with change taking place all around us all of the time. Change causes stress, even more so than workload compression, due dates, and the feared IRS exam. It always helps that I'm able to share my concerns with my partners. I enjoy spending time with my family and friends, and I am fortunate that my children and grandchildren live here in Albuquerque, so we are able to get together. Once again, I'm honored to be recognized with this award and want to thank all of you for your support. I'm truly in the greatest profession with the greatest people. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shauna King and I am a forensic accountant with the Forensic Firm. My daily activities include business valuations, litigation support services, and other forensic activities. I became a CPA because I wanted to help people navigate complex situations. In my previous role as a tax practitioner, I was able to help people deal with the ever-changing laws and rules when it came to their taxes, as well as the most rewarding part of my job today is when I deal with divorce clients who are dealing with emotionally charged and complex situations, and I am able to help them find clarity and resolution in their own lives. One of my greatest accomplishments is that I'm able to have a very meaningful career with the work that I do. I'm able to give back and be involved in the community, and I am also at the same time able to be present with my family and my kids' lives. For me, when I think of what leadership means, I think of a quote from Maya Angelou. She said, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel." To me, Great leaders consistently try to put themselves in the shoes of others and connect with people based on respect while still getting the job done. Supporting people through their failures and being committed to helping them is extremely important to me, and I try to utilize those skills in every team that I lead. I also think that community involvement is very important in a leadership role. Not only is it good to have tone at the top and teach people and lead by example, but I also think it's very important for us to use our talents for good and to give back. I think it's very important to show others that anything is possible and to be a great role model to the next generation. If I had to give advice to my younger self, I would tell her to stay the course. Keep asking those tough questions. Keep standing up for what you feel is right, no matter how hard or difficult the situation is. Winning this award has proven to me that it was all worth it, and that being true to myself in the long run really did pay off.
Hello, my name is Karen Cover. I'm a CPA and I currently work with Taylor Roth & Company. I have been doing this since I graduated in 1978. My current area of expertise, which has been that expertise since about 1999, is working with nonprofit organizations, doing audits and reviews, and of course 990 is associated with them. I just love working with all of my nonprofit organizations. They've just been, with a lot of things that were going on in my life. Many of them were there to help me through difficult times in my life as well. But I just love working for them. I kind of felt like when I was working for governments, yes, I was really good at that, but they could afford almost anybody. The nonprofits really needed somebody who cared about them, but wasn't going to charge an arm and a leg to do all of that stuff. And I had a good enough living. I didn't really need to make a whole lot of money, and so I was happy doing that. The best advice I would give my younger self is to believe in myself more. I know that when I first adopted the kids, everybody was always giving me advice as to what I should do and how I should do it, and I kept thinking, well, that doesn't make sense. I don't think that's right. And in hindsight, every time what my gut told me was right. And the whole time I was working for the bigger firm, trying to second guess myself, trying to figure out what somebody else wanted me to be, I needed to just be comfortable with myself to know that I am everything I needed to be. And I just needed to just do it instead of trying to prove to somebody else that I was good at it. And what does this award mean to me? That's really kind of a tough one. Because I've always kind of felt, not that I didn't belong, I always felt like somewhere in this world I belong and this is what I should be doing. But in many ways you just kind of feel unappreciated through a lot of what you do. And this just really makes me feel like not only am I appreciated, but that it's not just by my clients, but it's by my professionals and my peers that think that what I've done in my life has some meaning. I was saying goodbye to some of my clients, and I was telling them I cry at the moment's notice. I was saying goodbye to my clients, and I'm crying through the whole thing. But they're all so happy for me because they said, Karen, this is your time. It's your time to go and do what you want to do.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Gataska, and I'm a principal with Clifton Larson Allen. And before that, I was a shareholder with Atkinson and Company up until December of 2000 when Atkinson and Company joined CLA. So when I joined Arthur Young in 1984, someone gave me a 990 to prepare, and that's the return that's filed with the IRS for not-for-profit organizations. And of course, I'd never done one before. So I was reading all the instructions and got it done. And then when another 990 came around, I was given that one because I had done one before. And I actually ended up liking it a lot. And that was the path I chose. I was actually a career student in undergraduate school, and one of my parents finally said, well, time to graduate. And so then I enrolled in the master's program at Anderson. And when I was there, I noticed that the graduates getting jobs were in the accounting department, and those kids got jobs right out of school. And so for the most part, that shaped my decision on going into the accounting profession and ultimately becoming a CPA. The rewarding part of my job is the relationships I've developed with my clients and members of our professional community. And I never could have imagined that I would have formed the lasting, lifetime friendships that I have. I think the State Society is the institution in New Mexico that binds our CPA community together. It's the place where we go to get updates. Certainly CPE for me over the years has been, this is home base. This is where people come. The accounting graduates coming out of school and the new generation of CPAs are curious and bright, and they have the imagination and the ability to move this profession forward. And I have every confidence that our profession is going to be in good hands. I wanted to add something to why I chose accounting as a profession, and that is after I graduated from the master's program at Anderson, I got a job right out of school, and that's still the case today. UNM graduates in accounting are getting jobs right out of school 37 years later. My younger self probably isn't the advice I would give to someone joining the profession today because at the time it wasn't relevant, it wouldn't work. But what I would say to people coming into the profession today is find a balance and stick to it and find time for yourself. The way I deal with stress is I just work through it, and there's a certain balance I think that I reach when I know I can go home because I'm satisfied with the work that I've done for the day. My favorite professor in graduate school at Anderson, John Yackel, once told me that professional stature is always someone else's opinion of you. It's nothing that you decide for yourself. And I'm thrilled that my colleagues and people in the community feel that I was deserving to be selected for this award.